I'm going to show you how to make a napkin using this gorgeous fall fabric and the fall pumpkin design, which is a freebie from Kreative Kiwi. For this you will need a 50cm square of fabric, a thin strip of card cut to about 1/4 inch. It doesn't have to be absolutely precise as long as it's even all the way down. Some clips, some pins, my pressing board and an iron. So start off by cutting your fabric, and you want it nice and square, and heat up your iron. Then take your thin strip of card, lay it down towards the edge, and then bring the edge down so that it's level with the edge of your card, and then press it and go all the way along on your fabric. Remove the card and then just go over it again with some steam. Then you're going to fold it over and press again. That's your first side done. And you're going to do that on all 4 sides. This time round, keep this fold in, and I'm just going to put a little pin in along here. And now we're going to do exactly the same along this edge here. Remove the card and give it one more press without it. And now we're going to roll this for a second time. If, like me, you've got no nails, then I use a nice sharp, large pin, should I say, not necessarily sharp, and I use that to fold it over. And you want to make sure that your ends here are really nice and neat and there's no ugly bits poking out. I'm just going to pop a clip to hold that end. Do exactly the same on the other 2 edges. and I'm just going to fold our first edge back over. And we can now pop some pins in. Put a clip in that end first. So that's our napkin all pinned up and ready to stitch. We're now going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to put the sewing machine foot on the edge of our fabric and just follow it all the way around, taking care to be neat at the corners. And I've used clips on the corners because they don't distort the fabric, unlike pins do. And that's our napkin sewn and ready to embroider. So we're now going to embroider our napkin, and for that I'm going to be using a 4x4 hoop along with the 4x4 design, 2 layers of wash away stabiliser, a matching bobbin and thread because I want the back to look as neat as the front, some pins and my squizzers. So we're going to start off by hooping our 2 layers of stabiliser, and then we're going to pin around the top edge of the hoop. So take your pin, rest it on top of the inside hoop frame, push it through, bring it back round and back through your stabiliser, and that will anchor your stabiliser in place and stop it being dragged down between the hoop pieces. Load your matching bobbin and thread into your machine along with the file that you're going to use. And you don't have to do 4x4 on your napkins, you can do a larger size if you want to. We're just going to get our napkin. I want to show you what I've done. I've actually pressed this on the diagonal, so there's not a lot of room to move here, so please excuse me. So I've pressed this carefully on the diagonal, and then on the back I've marked a line again along that crease just to about halfway on my napkin, and then I've pressed the most of the crease out again, so that I've just got a faint crease going down here, and I'm going to use that to line it up in the hoop along with the line on the back of the napkin as well. So what I'm going to do is bring my hoop into play here. Now I want to make sure that this diagonal line here matches up with the 2 notches on my hoop. So I'm going to fold this back just so that it's as wide, or this piece here is as wide as my hoop, and I'm going to put that on that mark here, and then I'm going to pin it. Now you want to keep your pins right up against the edge of your hoop. You do not want them in the line of the stitching. So that's just going to hold that there for a minute. Then on the back we're going to do exactly the same. I'm going to fold this down, and then I'm going to bring this line to join up with this notch here. And then I just want to make sure that there's no creases when I pull that back. And once more I'm going to pin that so that it doesn't move. And again, right up against the edge of my hoop. I'm just using flathead daisy pins here. And then we're going to do the same for the sides. And I'm going to put 2 in on the sides. So nice and flat, making sure that I don't skew it. Another pin this side. I'm just going to turn this around so that I can see what I'm doing. And it's important to get it as straight on the diagonal as possible in your hoop, so that once it's embroidered, it actually looks straight on the diagonal when you remove it from the hoop. That's got a little bit of a crease in it, I don't want that. Okay, that looks reasonably good to me. Just check everything's okay on the back. That looks fine. That looks fine as well. So we're now going to pop our hoop into our machine, and then we're going to stitch the one and only round, and that's going to do our pumpkin. I've rolled up the edges of my napkin on the sides and at the back, just to control all the loose, so that it doesn't end up getting caught underneath the hoop accidentally and getting ruined. So we're now going to stitch round number 1. So that's the stitching done, and there it is. Isn't it beautiful? We're now going to free this from the hoop. I've removed all the pins, and on this occasion I am not going to free it while it's still in the hoop. I'm going to remove the napkin from my hoop completely. So I'm going to turn it over to the back, and now I'm going to trim up the excess stabiliser, and take care not to cut your napkin when you're trimming up. Loosely round the edge. And now I'm going to put this in my washing machine on a warm wash, and that's going to dissolve all the excess stabiliser, and it's going to remove all the chalk pen lines as well. I've now washed and pressed my napkin, and there's the back, and that's the front. And I'm really happy with that. I hope you enjoyed this stitch along. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified of new videos as they're published. Do pop along to Kreative Kiwis Facebook group. There's lots of ideas, help and inspiration there for everybody. And thank you very much for joining me.